What if I told you that one of the biggest reasons your blood sugar keeps climbing after 60 may have nothing to do with sugar itself? Not dessert, not bread, not even what you ate last night. And if your morning glucose numbers seem higher for no clear reason, if your joints ache more than they used to, if your energy disappears by noon no matter how carefully you eat, then what I'm about to explain may connect more dots than any doctor ever has. Because sometimes the problem isn't what you're eating. Sometimes it's the environment inside your body that quietly changes after 60, and most people never hear about it. I'm going to explain this through a story. A patient named Robert, 74 years old, retired electrician, good man, disciplined, careful. He checked his blood sugar every morning, took his medication exactly as prescribed, avoided desserts, walked when his knees allowed it, and yet his fasting numbers kept creeping higher. Then one morning, 173. He sat across from me, frustrated and exhausted. "Dr. Foster," he said quietly, "I feel like I'm doing everything right, so why does it feel like my body stopped listening?" Maybe you felt that too. That helpless feeling, the confusion, the fear that something is quietly changing inside you and nobody can explain why. I'm Dr. Sterling Foster, a senior health specialist, and for more than 27 years, I've helped adults over 60 manage blood sugar problems, fatigue, stubborn inflammation, and those confusing health changes that seem to appear overnight. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Many people are not failing. Their body is struggling in ways nobody has explained to them. Today, I want to talk about something surprisingly overlooked. Something that may quietly affect blood sugar, inflammation, kidney stress, fatigue, and even why medication sometimes feels like it's working less than before. And yes, it may already be sitting in your kitchen. But before I tell you what it is, I need you to understand why this matters. Because what I'm about to explain is not about miracle cures. It's about understanding your body. And when you understand your body, you stop blaming yourself. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at your blood sugar reading and thought, "How is this possible? I barely ate anything yesterday"? If that sounds familiar, write ME in the comments, because you are far from alone. Here's what many people over 60 don't realize. Your body changes with age in ways that standard blood sugar conversations rarely address. Most doctors focus on one thing, lowering glucose. And yes, that matters. But sometimes nobody asks an important question. Why is your body struggling to manage glucose in the first place? Think of your metabolism like a house. For years, everything works smoothly. The heating system runs. The pipes flow. The wiring responds. But slowly, silently, wear and tear builds. Not enough to break everything overnight. Just enough to make things less efficient. That's exactly what happens in many aging bodies. And for some people, one overlooked issue may quietly make everything harder. Blood sugar, inflammation, energy, joint pain, even kidney strain. Robert didn't know this when we first met. In fact, he blamed himself. He thought maybe he wasn't disciplined enough. Maybe he needed stricter diets. Maybe aging simply meant feeling worse every year. But then something happened. Not dramatic. Not overnight. Just enough to make him pause. Within a few weeks, his morning numbers became steadier. His stiffness improved. And perhaps most importantly, he stopped waking up feeling like his body was fighting him before breakfast. Now, here's where most people dismiss the conversation. Because what helped him wasn't expensive. It wasn't trendy. It wasn't hidden in some specialty health store. In fact, it was so ordinary, most people overlook it completely. And I already know what some of you are thinking. If this were real, wouldn't everybody know? Fair question. But medicine is complicated. Sometimes information exists, but conversations never happen. Sometimes doctors are focused on immediate risks. And sometimes simple things get ignored because they don't sound exciting. But simple doesn't always mean unimportant. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to walk you through 7 surprising ways this overlooked issue may quietly affect blood sugar after 60. We'll start with the weakest connection first. And by the time we reach number 1, you may finally understand why your body feels different than it did 10 years ago, and why your morning glucose number may not be entirely your fault. But before we get there, the first reason has something to do with your joints. And if your knees, hands, or hips seem stiffer on mornings when your blood sugar runs high, pay close attention, because most people think those two problems are unrelated. They're not. Let's start with something many seniors quietly accept as just aging. Joint pain, stiff fingers in the morning, knees that complain before breakfast, hips that suddenly feel 20 years older after a short walk. But what if some of that discomfort isn't simply age? What if your body is trying to tell you something deeper? Many patients tell me, Dr. Foster, my blood sugar is high, but my joints hurt too. I don't understand what one has to do with the other. Actually, more than most people realize. Think of your body like a neighborhood. When one street has trouble, nearby streets begin struggling too. Blood sugar problems rarely travel alone. Inflammation often moves with them, and inflammation changes everything. I remember a patient named Linda, 71 years old, retired teacher. She told me mornings had become her least favorite part of the day. Her fingers hurt. Her ankles felt swollen. And strangely, those painful mornings almost always matched higher glucose readings. She thought she was imagining it. She wasn't. You see, chronic inflammation may quietly interfere with how your body responds to insulin. Imagine insulin as a key. Its job is simple. Open the cell door so sugar can move inside and become energy. But inflammation acts like rust inside the lock. The key is still there. The door still exists. But suddenly everything becomes harder. Your body must work more just to get the same result. And after 60, that extra strain adds up. This is where many people blame themselves unfairly. They think, I must be eating wrong. I failed my diet again. No matter what I do, nothing changes. But sometimes your body is asking for support, not punishment. And Robert, the gentleman I mentioned earlier, learned that firsthand. When we talked more deeply, he admitted something. He had stopped sleeping well. His joints hurt constantly. He woke up tired. And every morning his blood sugar seemed determined to ruin his mood before breakfast. Sound familiar? If mornings feel harder than they used to, tell me in the comments. Mornings are hard. I read these because I want people to know they are not struggling alone. Now, here comes the surprising part. There is one simple thing some seniors overlook completely: hydration. Not soda, not juice, not sports drinks. Simple hydration. Because many adults over 60 live mildly dehydrated without realizing it. And when that happens, blood sugar numbers may appear higher. Energy drops, fatigue grows louder, and the body becomes more stressed. Think of your bloodstream like soup. When there's less liquid, everything becomes more concentrated, including glucose. That doesn't mean water magically cures blood sugar. Not even close. But it does mean your body works better when basic systems are supported. Robert started paying attention to this. Nothing dramatic. No impossible routine. No expensive supplements. Just consistent hydration, better timing around meals, and reducing hidden stressors affecting his mornings. 3 weeks later, he noticed something. His numbers weren't perfect. but they were steadier, and steady matters. Because health after 60 is rarely about perfection. It's about direction, small improvements, better energy, more confidence. Feeling like your body is working with you again instead of against you. And this brings me to something incredibly important. Please don't hear this and think, so I should stop my medication. Absolutely not. Never make medication changes without speaking with your doctor. The goal is not replacing medical care. The goal is understanding the hidden pieces that sometimes make medical care work better. That distinction matters because too many seniors feel ashamed when their numbers don't improve. But shame doesn't heal anyone. Understanding does. And there's one hidden mistake many adults over 60 make every single evening. A mistake that quietly affects blood sugar overnight and creates discouraging morning readings. In fact, if your glucose is always highest first thing in the morning, this next part may explain more than anything else we discussed today. Before I explain it, if staying healthy and independent after 60 matters to you, consider subscribing. I share simple, science-backed health guidance to help you feel informed, not frightened, because aging should come with understanding, not confusion. And what I'm about to explain next may completely change how you think about your mornings after 60.